praise due to Allah, we seek His help and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evils of our souls and from our bad deeds. Whomever Allah guides, no one can misguide. And whomever Allah leads astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His messenger. Dear brothers and sisters, today, this morning, when we woke up, each one of us had something in his or her mind on what they wanted to do for the day. You know, some of us woke up and said, I'm going to make me a nice breakfast and then go to work. By the end of my work day, I'm going to come home and enjoy the rest of the evening with my family. Some said, didn't necessarily have to say it, but they thought it in their mind that what they wanted to do was get up and go to school. After school, they go out with their friends. You know, some had the day off. They just wanted to go and do whatever it is that they wanted to do. But once we realized that, okay, now we have a full day ahead of us, we already put the plan in our mind and we start thinking about what we wanted to do. And when you look at this, we realize that this is what intentions are. Each one of us put the intention in their mind on what they wanted to do. And the intentions are something that we do every single day, whether we realize it or not, if not every single minute. Now let's look at how the Prophet ﷺ defined the intentions and how intentions can be taken into consideration. So the hadith was narrated by Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, and the hadith said, إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته لدنيا يصيبها وامرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. The first thing the Prophet ﷺ says, actions are judged by intentions. And each person will get what they intended. So whoever intends that their actions are be taken to the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the way of His Prophet ﷺ, then that's where his intentions will be taken. And whoever's have the intention to have their actions and everything they do for worldly things, then their intentions are going to go that way. So let's look at the first part of the hadith. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are judged by intentions. We look at things, like we said, when we wake up in the morning, we say, okay, what is it that I want to do? And you start having that intention. Things are pretty much obvious to us. I want to go to school. So your intention becomes that you want to go to school, or you want to go to work. Or the intention could be something that reflects an action. Imam Ibn Uthaymeen said that actions can be defined or classified into 3 different sections. He said the first section are the intentions in our heart. And then the intentions that we say, or he said it could be that we see or smell, but he said that's really not as much as the things that we say. And then the third section is the physical actions that we do with our hands or our legs. So the Prophet ﷺ said, actions are judged by the intentions, and then each person will be rewarded with their intentions according to what they really intended. We look at that first part, and the Prophet is saying, okay, so now you have the option of having that intention. Before doing anything, we know what is it that we're going to do. And then he said, okay, and then once you decided your intentions, those can take 2 turns. Either your intentions can be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the way of His Prophet ﷺ, or for worldly things. Now when you sit there and think about this, the Prophet gives you two options. It's either going to be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or for things for this world. And he doesn't say, this is right and this is wrong, or this is better than the other. It's just saying, it's either going to go this way, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it's just going to go for the worldly things. And we'll talk about specific examples in a few minutes. Now, we look at the intentions and we say, okay, everything I say or everything I think about, I have an intention for. And Imam Ibn Uthaymeen said that intentions do not need to be verbal. You know, the scholars, have their own different debates of whether it should be spoken or not. But when you really think about it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Mulk, وَأَسِرُّوا قَوْلَكُمْ أَوْ اجْهَرُوا بِهِ إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. Say it if you want, or keep it in your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Doesn't he know who he created? So when you really think about it, a lot of times you don't sit here and say, okay, today I'm going to go to school, and then I'm going to go and start speaking things out. Unless you want people to know what is it that you want to do. So we look at the niyyah, the intentions. And the first section of really having the intentions comes to us trying to distinguish between the things that we're doing. So for example, distinguishing the different fara'id, or distinguishing between the fara'id and the sunnah. So if I'm fasting on a Wednesday, I can say, okay, in my heart, I'm fasting this Wednesday, whether it's to make up a day in Ramadan that I missed, or fasting it as a sunnah. The same thing, with fasting a Monday or a Thursday. Am I making up something, or is this just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The same thing when you're giving charity. Are you giving? Is this your zakah, your 2.5% zakah, or this is just a charity that you're giving? Those are the niyat that we're trying to distinguish just among ourselves, to know what is it that we need to do. If we miss a prayer, if we miss the dhuhr prayer, and then we remember the next day that we didn't make it. So now I need to pray the dhuhr from yesterday and the dhuhr from today. So again, we have to distinguish those different intentions. And then we have the good intention and the bad intention. And a lot of people will not know your true intention. This is something, again, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows.